Allison. I'm the Programs Outreach and Youth Services Manager here at Monterey County Free Libraries. Thank you for joining me this week for Backyard Science. I'm going to be taking over for Miss Marilyn for a little while, and so I thought that for our first episode together, we would do something that Miss Marilyn likes to do and explore my backyard. Miss Marilyn always encouraged us to explore our surroundings and just use our power of observation to get ourselves curious about what is going on in our backyards. So I thought today we would take a very simple trip through my backyard to look at some of the things that I hope to explore with you in future backyard science videos. So put on your explorer hat if you have one, and let's get ready to go outside. So one thing that I wanted to point out that I have in my backyard is a compost bin. And Miss Marilyn actually did a video that you can look back in our playlist to learn more about compost. So that's something that I have in my backyard. This is one of my favorite plants in my backyard. It is called a rubber tree. And actually my mom found this in somebody's green waste out on the curb, and we took it and brought it back to life, and it's growing very nicely now. It's hard to tell from this video, but the plant itself is about 4 feet tall. They're kind of covered in pollen right now, but this rubber plant has these really cool, big, glossy leaves. And when it's growing new leaves, it actually has these red little spikes that come out. Let me see if we have one here. It's not as red as it can get sometimes, but this spike right here will blossom off into new leaves. Another thing that I have in my backyard that I want to explore more with you all in future videos are herbs. So I have this Thai basil plant here, and then down below I have some mint. And one interesting thing that happened was this mint plant actually seemed like it died over the winter, and then suddenly in the spring started to grow again. So I would love to do some more exploration and research on what happens with mint plants in the winter. We also have this rosemary bush here, and rosemary is a great herb to use for cooking, as is basil and mint. So some plants that you grow in your yard can be edible, as I'm sure you know, but you want to make sure that you check with somebody before you taste anything that you find in the backyard. In my backyard, we have tons of ivy, which is this green leafy plant here, and you can see it here growing up this tree. Ivy is a type of vine that likes to crawl up whatever it's growing on. We also have a lot of oak trees in our backyard, and one thing that I thought was very interesting is if we look a little bit closer here, you can see where some ivy actually grew into the tree. So right here, the ivy was actually growing around the tree, and as the tree grew, the ivy cut into the tree trunk and made these deep grooves. So those are actually part of the tree forever now. It's pretty cool, isn't it? I love flowers, and these are some of my favorite flowers. These are called Snapdragons, and they're called Snapdragons because if you press on the side, they open up like this, and it kind of looks like a dragon snapping at you. I think these flowers are very pretty. They come in all sorts of different colors, and it's fun to have them snap open at you. I'm also currently working on growing some vegetables in my yard. So this is a zucchini plant, and as you can see, it has 1, 2, 3, 4 different zucchinis growing off of it. They're small right now, and when they started off, they started with a little yellow flower that blossomed into this plant that I will be able to pick and eat in my dinner. And I'm just growing that in this pot, so it grows like that. I've also been trying to grow some tomatoes. I was fairly successful last year, but they're not doing as well this year. As you can see, the plants don't look so great, but some of them have a few tomatoes on them. You can see some of them are pretty green still. There's 3 down there, but there's actually one that's starting to ripen right there. It's starting to get a little yellow. Some tomatoes are red, some are yellow, some are orange. My favorite are the yellow and red ones. There's this one over here that looks a lot different. It's not as round. It's kind of weird, different shape than the other ones. It's still really hard. I also have 2 nectarine trees. So this one, unfortunately, the blue jays that visit my backyard pecked all the fruit off, but this one is growing fruit as we speak. So here are 2 of the nectarines that are growing on it, and you can see they're starting to get, more nectarine colored, a little rosy and peach-like. And those ones over there are still a little bit green. Looks like one of the blue jays got to one over there. Another plant that I have in my backyard is called lamb's ear. And this is very, very soft, like a lamb's ear. So sometimes you might see this out at a park, and if you ask an adult that you're with for permission and to help you make sure that it is lamb's ear, you can give it a feel, and it's very, very soft. I love it. And it gets these really cool purple flower buds while it's blooming. Our backyard also has a ton of this Spanish moss in it. And it's really cool looking. It hangs from the trees like this. I kind of like the way it smells. It smells moist and, a little damp. And it just makes the tree look really cool. So I'd love to learn more about that in a future video and explore that and research that with all of you. And the last thing I wanted to point out in my backyard is that it is covered with pine cones. We used to have a big pine tree in our backyard, and it dropped all of these pine cones all over the yard. And I have always, seen pine cones as decorations or out and about in nature, but I would love to learn more about pine cones. I hope you enjoyed this little explore through my backyard today. I'm so excited to learn more about my own backyard and hopefully teach you some things about what's in your backyard through future backyard science videos together. We'll also be exploring some of the creatures that are in my backyard, such as crows and roly-polies and snails and blue jays and anything else that I see through my window. So I hope that you have a great rest of your week. Until we meet again, keep exploring your backyard and let me know what you find. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.